Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? All right. Good to see you all. Let's give it a couple more minutes and we're going to get cracking. Let me change a couple settings here. Okay. Exciting stuff, guys. Hopefully, what day are we at? Is it Saturday, Sunday? Oh my gosh, it's Tuesday. All right, just checking. Losing track of the days lately. I'm sure you are all as well. Hopefully everybody is safe and healthy out there. I drove by a clinic today that was doing COVID testing, and there was a line that looked like it was about 4 hours long. I talked to someone and it was about 4 hours long. So I hope everybody's getting tested as we need. We got to restart this economy. So hopefully we can increase testing here shortly. Excited to be here with you guys. Let's give it one more minute and then we're going to get started. Just need to verify everything's sounding good. All right, everybody. 2:01 Eastern. All right, guys. So hope everybody's doing well out there. I'm excited to bring you this webinar. This is going to be really fun. I think it's blocked out for an hour. We're only going to need 30 minutes. I tend to go really quickly. This is emailed out to all of you guys, so you'll be able to see all of the tips, tactics, and strategies that we recommend. I actually personally love SEO myself. Since I started the agency 11 years ago as an SEO company, I've done the SEO for Cardinal. So if you go and type in healthcare marketing agency, we're usually the top agency there. It's my passion to do that for Cardinal and to bring that to all of you so that we can help get some more patients healthy. So today we're going to talk really tactically. We're going to talk about Google algorithm update that happened in May, rocked a lot of people's world, benefited a lot of great websites that have been doing things right. We're going to talk about why that happened and what you should or should not do about it. And then we're going to get into the local SEO, everything that comes with it, reviews, directories, on-site content, location pages. So this is going to be super tactical, guys. Those are the tips I feel like are best. I'm utilizing some of your time. I know you guys are at home and you got dogs barking and kids running around, and you probably rather play with the kids than listen to me. So I feel like it is incumbent on me to bring you value. Before we get into tips, a little bit about Cardinal. I hate talking about myself, but I do like to say that we are boutique, not bougie. So you don't get sold by an A team and then you have students right out of college working on your campaigns. So people that really know how to run advertising and SEO campaigns all work at Cardinal. So anyone can answer really strategic questions. I'm really passionate about making sure our team is the best in the country. 11 years we've been at this. I started it same year I graduated from Georgia State University, day after my son was born. That was a crazy year. And we're really passionate about connecting patients with the best providers out there. That is super important to us. We vet our provider groups and hospitals really closely to make sure they are the best in town. We only take one per location. And then we get really excited about making sure they show up on Google and Facebook, connecting them with patients that need to get seen. For me, medical marketing is marketing that matters. I love this stuff. We don't pretend to be good at everything. We're good at a few things: SEO, paid search, paid social. And there are a few things that go along with that, like UX and reputation, CRO. But everything else is outside of our wheelhouse. Don't try to pretend to be a creative or brand or email agency. That's not us. We're really good at lead gen and everything it takes to get a patient from SEO to search and social. Work with hospitals, dental, urgent care, practice, specialty clinics, surgery groups, you name it. We've been doing it for 11 years. My first primary care that we brought on 11 years ago, still a client to this day. All right, guys, as you guys know, Dr. Google's been busy. He has been busy this year. Answering tons of questions. It's crazy how much we share with Dr. Google. He or she knows a ton about us. And this year we've spent a lot of time tracking statistics and cases and everything else. Still, the number one search topic on Google, and for a good reason, right? So it's really important that we show up when people are looking for health-related information, whether that's symptoms, disease, treatment, or provider-related info. Got to make sure you're showing up. I'll tell you how to do that on this webinar. All right, big update that happened in May. This was a core update. It affected, I think, like close to 20% of websites. We saw a huge increase for our site and the majority of our clients. which is really exciting. It seemed to be a correction of the update that came out in March. March rocked a lot of websites, and I felt like it was some of it was uncharacteristic of an algorithm update and a little sloppy. We had good websites that got hit. This corrected it, got people on the right track. Google will always say the same thing to you. Create really high quality content on your website and really great backlinks, and you'll rank really well. It's kind of true. It's kind of true. I don't put a lot of stock in these updates because if you do a lot of those things correctly, and I'll show you what I'm talking about and what great content, great links look like. If you do those things correctly day in, day out, you don't have to worry about these algorithm updates. You just get excited about them because it means that your website's great. You're probably going to benefit from them. So everybody, guys, I want 500 words at least on every page, and we'll talk about how to do that. I want really high quality backlinks. If you don't know if your backlinks are high quality, go get with an SEO contractor resource and have them do a backlink analysis. Make sure there's nothing toxic in there. Even if you have never hired an SEO company, your competitors sometimes will make these things happen, send a bunch of toxic links from Russia and India, et cetera, to your website, and Google can pick up on that and penalize you, even if you don't have a manual penalty in Search Console. So guys, analyze your content, always analyze your backlinks, do an audit every quarter, and make sure you stay out of trouble. Lots of great stuff. You want to make sure your content is always unique. And we're going to talk about some of the fun stuff that Google's going to be looking at big time going into 2011. And I don't know about you guys, but I am freaking ready for 2011 or 2021. Did I say 2011? Oh my God, stuck in the past. 2021. I'm already excited about next year. I'm ready to wrap this year up. Let's get that vaccine and move on. So Google's going to place a lot more emphasis. They've been talking about mobile for, I don't know, 6 years, and it's going to be super important, right? And we went through the mobile sites and M.dot sites, and then you had to have your pages needed to be amped. So they loaded super quick. And it was supposed to all factor into the algorithm. Now they're saying it officially will in 2021. I think it already does factor in. Page speed going to be super important. Make sure those sites are loading super quickly. Make sure you don't have the M.dot, that separate mobile website. Don't like seeing that. Your website should be responsive and form fit. We'll talk about that later. Websites just need to be super quick and super friendly on mobile. You don't need a lot of interstitials or pop-ups. It's okay to have some pop-ups, but we don't need them. Google will have some kind of algorithm, some way of evaluating whether they're too interruptive. Think of it this way, like your full screen takeover. If I'm on your website for 3 seconds, you got a full screen takeover. That's not really great for user experience. That's what Google's going to be looking at. I think Google's going to be smart enough, though, if we're still in COVID times in 2021 when they roll this out, I think they'll allow for the COVID updates. I do like those full screen takeovers. When we land on your hospital site or your clinic site, that you have a full screen takeover that says hours of operations, whether we accept telehealth, whether you can come in, which service lines are open. I like those. Hopefully we are past that in 2021 when they roll this out. Super important though. It's all going to be mobile friendly, fast sites. By the way, guys, I should mention, I've got the chat open. Ask your questions in the chat. I will slow down every now and then and check them, and I'll answer them as we come to break. So ask anything. Also, my personal Calendly was sent out to each one of you when you're registered, and I think it'll go out another couple times. You can schedule 30 minutes and we can chat, and we can just go through any of your more specific questions or at-length stuff at that point too. So feel free to ask that. I'm going to open up a poll too. This is going to be single and multi-location. I'm going to start that poll. I'd love to know. Okay. All right, guys. There's 3 pillars to local SEO strategy. The first one we're going to talk about is going to be near me optimization. Then we're going to get into local content, how you can rank below those maps with the right content on your location pages. And then we'll talk about voice search. Remember, voice search was all the rage. It's still important when people are going around and their kid is sick and they need an urgent care. They say, "Hey Siri, where can you find an urgent care near me?" It still matters. How do we make sure that we show up when someone's talking to Siri? Okay. And I'm assuming you guys all have iPhones. Maybe that's an assumption. Maybe you guys have some of the Google thing, but I like Apple. Apple just broke up with Intel yesterday. That's big news. 15 years, they're not making their chips anymore. All right, guys. 3 ways we did a COVID pivot webinar last month, and we talked about all these things. This one's just about local SEO, but maybe we'll do another one about reputation and Google and Facebook ads next. All right, let's talk about it. It's crazy. You know, I would have thought the statistic would have been slightly different, that the majority of people would choose their provider based on reputation scores, but apparently proximity takes the cake. So proximity is huge. If that PCP isn't a mile down the street, do I want to constantly go to a primary care provider that's 10 miles away and takes me 15 minutes, or a PEDS office that is 20 minutes away? I don't. So proximity makes sense. We got to show it when people are looking for me. Pillar one, they're increasing 250% increase in store open near me. And that goes for medical as well. It's increasing. It's just getting more. A lot of that's due to the voice search stuff. So how do we show up? Really incumbent on us that we need to show up in these top positions on maps. That's generally, when you're talking to Siri, that's generally what's showing up on mobile, right? The near me searches are generally on mobile, and generally Maps is showing up. Maps has its own algorithm. Maps has its own algorithm. That's really important to know. So we're going to talk about the different things that go into this algorithm, but it's a different animal. I consider it part of organic and Google SEO, but it's on its own little algorithm. So you'll want to make sure the reviews and directories and everything's up to speed. It's kind of, you got to take it a little bit separate than organic, which comes below it. How do we show up in Maps? Good question. Thanks for asking. So there's a number of factors that go into Maps, but having directories, your name, address, phone number, consistent across all major directories is super important. There are hundreds of directories out there. The majority don't matter. Google's really looking at the big ones, including Google My Business, their own directory. Yelp, Health Grades, Vital, ZocDoc, RateMDs. Some of you guys are plastic surgeons. You might have specific ones showing up there. It's whatever's important in your local geography. That's what Google's looking at. It is really tough to update all of these manually on your own and keep them updated. We had tried, Julian, I'll get to your question in a second. No, Maps we're talking about Google Maps. I just got a question. Are we talking about Apple Maps? That we're mostly talking about Google My Business. That's all of the maps that show up on Google. So really important here, guys, that you show up consistently, and it's really tough to do it manually. For many years, Cardinal was doing it manually for our clients because we got better results and things got updated quicker. But then we found that these directory listings like Yelp and Health Grades, they were pulling their own information whenever they wanted. We couldn't keep up with it, especially as we started to scale hundreds of different locations. We couldn't keep up. So I recommend, and I am not sponsored by Yext, but I really feel like this is the best solution. There are a lot out there. You can have Bright Local and Vendasta, and I don't know. There are 100 different directory services. We've used a lot of them. I will tell you this. Yext, very smart business model. They really have a monopoly on it. They're the only ones with a direct connect into Yelp. They're the only ones, I think they have the Health Grades connection as well, which shows up really high on search all the time. So a lot of the other ones, guys, they say they have the connections. They don't. I've tested it. They don't. Yext, I think off the street for you guys will be, they ask for like $80, $90 per location or per provider, because your providers need to be updated as well. Something to know, not just locations, but you want to make sure your providers are showing up consistently as well. 80 to 90 bucks. I think agencies can get that down in half, especially some of them that have different volume. Julian, no Health Grades on Yext. Major bummer. Yeah. All right. So that stinks. I thought they had the connection directly. So super important, guys, that you get on there. Talk to a Yext rep if you can, and then talk to another one like Vendasta or one of the others. But I highly recommend getting your providers and locations into Yext. If you cannot afford to get all of your providers into Yext, because you have hundreds of providers and times 80 would be a lot, then you can do bulk uploads into Google My Business. You can get a spreadsheet, map out all of your providers and locations, and do a bulk upload. Now, Yelp won't be updated. Health Grades won't be automatically updated. You need to get with a Health Grades rep, and they'll update. Health Grades does not allow agencies to mess around in the platform anymore. Health Grades does not allow you to integrate. So you have to go through their reps, and they'll have one for your practice. It's because they're trying to sell you ads and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun, right? So highly recommend you get your providers and locations lined up, guys. I'll get back to some of the other GMB questions later. It does influence rankings, but it's also what patients are looking at for information. And this was so critical. This is still so critical. Are you accepting in-person appointments? How does anyone know, right? They're Googling you, your brand terms, your service line terms. So we've got to make sure that we have it up there, what's going on at your locations. Everything has to be approved. Something I run into with my medical groups, an issue I often see, they think they have 6 locations, but really 3 of them are shared offices where a provider goes for consults once a week. The shared office will not get you verified in GMB. That is very tricky. You can go have someone put signage up, but GMB will figure it out down the road. So there are some ways around, but if you have a shared office, do not expect that will get verified by Google. All kinds of fun stuff to make sure GMB shows up. The number 1 ranking factor for Google My Business to show up when someone types an orthopedic surgeon or chiropractor near me is proximity. It is proximity. Okay, there's not a lot we can do about proximity, but if you're in close contention with a few other provider groups, all of these tips make sure you show up. Google My Business, I like to think of it almost as its own website. It allows for reviews. It allows for an about us. It allows for tons of new pictures, virtual tours, Q&As that are like FAQs. Treat this as its own website and take it seriously. Update it constantly. And that way you're going to give yourself a better shot at coming up into the algorithm. I love getting pictures. Quick tip on GMB. You can add, and GMB is Google My Business. For anybody out there that didn't know the abbreviation, I'm going to use it a lot. Quick tip here. If you add your own photos, Google may or may not prioritize those and show those in your thumbnail. But what they will often show are photos from customers. So don't post the photos necessarily from your own login. Get your customers or colleagues or friends to upload the pictures that you want outside. If you're having trouble getting the thumbnail that you want, have customers or clients or friends upload the pictures that you want, and Google will more often than not prioritize those. Very tough to dictate what goes in the profile in the main thumbnail. And there are ways around it, and updating it is one of those ways. So make sure you're putting in all your pictures. Something I'm seeing recently that I really like for a lot of reasons are the virtual tours. There's a lot of companies, some in your local area, photographers will generally do this. And I really like this because it gives people, not only is it going to help show like frequent content stuff, but it gives people a sneak peek in what they're coming into. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm seeing a lot of practices still aren't at 100% of capacity. I'm seeing 70, 80% elective surgery. My neuro groups are at 85. We're not all the way there. Would it help if patients were able to see inside the practice, see how clean it was, see how spaced out things were? COVID's not going anywhere until we get a vaccine. We've got like 6 more months of this. So I think it's worthwhile putting some marketing tactics in place because they're going to be with us for a while. And the virtual tour will benefit you afterwards. So I like the pictures. I like the virtual tours. The more time you spend on your GMB and making sure all of that looks well, the better you're going to show up on the phone. And that's how a lot of people are finding your provider groups. Tour creator, lots of different fun. If you don't want to go to the photographer and you want to do this yourself, you can do it yourself. I just see that that's typically where things get hung up is when practices, they ask the office manager. They don't have a marketing coordinator in-house. They ask the office manager. I've seen the head of HR. They try to roll out these marketing tactics. Guys, if you don't have a lot of budget, go to Upwork.com. Look for an SEO specialist. I find that there's a ton of great ones here in the States that can help you out for $30 an hour and knock things like this out. These are some of the COVID updates tips. Grady Health System is here in Atlanta. Level 1 trauma, phenomenal health system. They updated it really well. I love that they said they have it updated there. Appointment not required, and they're letting you know that you don't even need a provider referral. You can come directly. You can inquire directly. They have a great cardiology and heart center, the Bernie Marcus Heart Center, and a lot of their branding's all around cardio. So very cool health system. And there you can see IT temporarily closed. Virtual consults are available. And then you can let people know when they do come in what the process is going to be. And we're going to give you a mask. You got to stand outside. Someone will greet you. There'll be a bell at the front. And don't forget, guys, you can also link to your individual subpages. Each location can link to a location on your website to make sure people go there. And then once people are on your location page, they can read even more about you. Okay. And you can link to just about anything that you find relevant. Google My Business. It's like a darn website for you. Okay. Really want you guys to take that very seriously. That's what people are using to find you. Okay, so we talked about making sure we show up and have the right directory listings, name, address, and phone number, and consistency, and photos, and virtual tours. What else matters? When I look at who's ranking in maps, it's not always it is always proximity, and a lot of times it's consistency. And you see provider groups with terrible reviews showing up. So you can still show up even if you have crummy reviews, but I'd suggest you get great reviews. It'll signal to Google you're a great practice. And when people find you, you're going to have a better chance of converting them. I do not recommend you guys trying to do this manually. Once again, just like Yext, it's not automated enough. You'll forget about it in 90 days. The office manager will stop following up with people. There are better solutions. We're partnered with Bird Eye. You can go directly to Bird Eye. You don't have to go through agencies like us. I don't know what they'll be, 130 a location or provider, so it's not cheap, but it is worthwhile. They'll connect directly in with your EHR, EMR, CRM, so that when a patient checks out, they get an email and SMS that will say, hey, did you have a great time at Orthopedic Surgeons of Atlanta? And send you directly into Google, okay? There's no more of the gated review stuff. Someone clicks no. You can't internally monitor those. Google got rid of that. They don't want the gated reviews anymore, so they're going to send you directly in to whichever platform you deem that you want the more reviews at. Getting some questions here about reviews. Most important things. I got a great question here. What are some of the most important things I should do to improve my reviews or rankings? Thank you, Lauren. Great question. Generally, the majority of the groups we work with have really great run operations and great providers. Where things get hung up is those provider groups are not asking people for reviews. So what's happening is the negative Nancy's are the only ones that are going and leaving reviews. Like when I have a great experience, do I automatically go leave a review somewhere? Generally, no. So what you want to do is any review program, assuming you're not a totally crappy provider group, it's going to generate positive polys. We're going to get the positive polys to leave great reviews. So super important there, guys. Just rolling out a program will get you more reviews. And assuming you're a great practice, you're going to improve your reputation scores, okay? I will say the number one complaint I see across all my provider groups is dealing with the office management. It's a lack of appointment scheduling up front. It's confusion around whether you got to submit an MRI or any corresponding documentation before coming. It's confusion around whether telehealth or the links are working. And then assuming we're not in COVID times, I see a huge complaint being the checkout system, that billing and insurance and payer information wasn't done correctly. I don't see a lot of complaints about providers. I don't see that. It's typically office management. So a lot of these reviews can be useful. Call tracking can be really useful so that you can analyze sentiment and what's going wrong or well at your practice, okay? These things enable you to do this at scale. And advice, don't be cheap and try to do your directories and reviews on your own, okay, guys? It's impossible to scale that. All right, pause for a second and check out any questions here. We talked about Google My Business, listings and reviews, super important so that we show up in maps. Now we're going to talk about what it takes to show up in organic beneath that. Okay, all of those listings, everything that comes up below maps, especially important on desktop. Yes, this recording, we will be sending out a recording of this presentation. You will have to listen to my voice 2 times, with, nails on chalkboards, but you can probably quickly go through this and just get to the tactics. So yes, this will be sent out to everybody. All right, let's get into it. I started this poll. I was wondering how many multi-location businesses we have. This will help me edit, and this will be interesting. This will change kind of the narrative. So if you guys can go to the poll and fill that out, that'd be great. Oh, Danielle, great question. What do you do when patients submit reviews to Google and they don't get posted? So during COVID, Google rolled out a policy where they wouldn't allow a lot of reviews to get posted. They figured service would be pretty shitty for a while because a lot of practices were shut down. They couldn't keep up. Clients were really confused. Patients were really confused. And so they Sorry, I'm just kidding. Let's see, publish. Oh, there we go. Polls open, polls open. Okay. And so patients were getting really confused. So Google wouldn't post those reviews. We had like a 4-week grace period, Danielle, but now they are getting posted. Okay. Sometimes with just a big delay. We're seeing 7 to 14 business day delay. So super important. They will get posted. I don't know if I'd roll out a big review solicitation campaign right now while we're still coming out of COVID and Google's not publishing everything, but in the coming months they should. So get with Bird Eye, get with Trustpilot, get with one of them and start working on the program, get it connected with your EMR and just roll it out in a small way. Zena, multi-location, I love it. Yes, we're mostly going to talk about multi-location. All right, guys, so the poll's open, go fill it out. Whew. What do we do to show up in organic, right? When someone's typing in urgent care near me or urgent care Tucson, how do we show up? Your location pages could not be more important. I'm going to give you so many specific tips here on how the multi-location pages work out. Ooh, we are 80% multi-location. Julian, still not seeing GMB reviews since March. Only received 2. Yes, Google's delayed. March is a long time though. Talk to your Google rep. If you don't have a Google rep, Julie, get with me. I'll talk with our team and see what we can do. We are a premier partner. We manage millions of dollars and spend. So they're sometimes they'll help us out with GMB sometimes. All right. So how do we rank on, how do we get our location pages? What's important on each location page? Woo, this is big. You can't see it too clearly, but I wanted you to see the layout that's important here. Okay. Every single page should have a URL and a meta title specific to that location. Okay. So this is Georgia Behavioral Health Professional / Sandy Springs keyword behavioral office, behavioral therapy office. Okay. So super important. You want to have your URL and meta title description all have keyword plus location in there. What do we do with the rest of the page? Something that I don't often see is enough content on these location pages. They say, well, really, I just want my location page to convert someone that lands on the website on the main pages, and then they just need to find the location really quick on their phone or whatever. I don't want to distract them with content. That couldn't be further from the truth. You can have the important stuff really high up top, and it'll show up there so that someone's on mobile, they can still submit, click a lead. They can, you want your Google My Business directly linked so they can click for directions. That can still all happen. But if you want to signal to Google that you should be ranking for a certain location, like Sandy Springs Behavioral Therapy, or Dunwoody Orthopedic Surgeon, you have to write lots of local content that's unique to that location. Okay, guys. Location content around press releases. You can have stuff that's specific to that area. I'll show you on the next slide. Really important, really cool stuff. I want your providers that actually work at that location listed here. Okay. A lot of people are wondering if the provider that they have been referred to from another provider, or their PCP probably, are going to be able to see them at that location. So your providers need to be listed there. You want everything really easy to find, maps with other locations, and everything clickable. Everything should be clickable and interactive. WordPress is great. WordPress is great for this. Lots of plugins, lots of templates. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you do want all of this information in there. I have another example for you in just a moment. I thought it was about to come up, but it's not. It must be right after this. So using local keywords is important. Types of supporting content. Check that out on the right, guys. Swipe right. See you right over there. Types of supporting content to create FAQs that are specific to that location. Why FAQs? FAQs are showing up. FAQs with schema. It's a code that you can put in around an FAQ is showing up big time in search results right now. So when someone types an orthopedic surgeon near me, let's say Atlanta Brain and Spine Care will show it with their little listing. But then if you have the FAQ, you take up this more real estate. So every location page should have an FAQ with schema attached to it. Have local events in there, local press, local blog articles that link back from your blog into what's going on at that location. I can't stress this enough. The location pages are always overlooked, and they are what ranks in Google. When you type in orthopedic surgeon in Brookhaven, Georgia, they show those pages that match with Brookhaven. So each one of your locations should have that. little example here, what I did for Atlanta Brain and Spine Care. I have information. I don't know if any of y'all love Zach Brown. I'm not big in a country. I don't know. The Chicken Fried Thing is a good song. But I included content around Chicken Fried or Zach Brown and different people that are from Fayetteville and different information and I-85 and local stuff. And we rank number 1 in Fayetteville for Fayetteville spine surgeon. Sure, it's a small market, but there's competitors there. And the hospitals they are affiliated with were ranking better than us until we start creating more local content. So pictures of the providers, pictures of the location, Google My Business directly linked, all of that super important. Lots of content, specific and unique to that location. I'm going to pause there for a second because it couldn't be more important. Okay, we got a question from Cynthia. How large does the city need to be for location pages? I want a location page for every city that you actually have a location in. It's okay in this instance if it's a shared location with another provider group. That's okay. This isn't Google. We don't have to get anything verified, but it's okay. I want anywhere that you're seeing patients, consults or ops. I want to see a location page, okay? And it can be a very small city. Even if you live in a really small city, people are still typing in orthopedic surgeon near me, and Google will see that city that it's optimized is close to that searcher and serve them this page. All right, guys, so city doesn't need to be big. I like lots of location pages, guys, lots of location pages. All right, pause for a second. Let me check your poll. Great attendance in this one too, man. We got a lot of provider hospital groups. This is good. Single location, 24%, 75% multi-location. I love it. All right, singles. Got to get you up in locations. Great question, Suzanne. If you have multiple locations in a single city, how do you prioritize which local keywords to focus your rankings on? Multiple locations in a single city. Great question. I would probably lump the locations into one city locations page. I don't know that I'll have multiple. I don't know if I would have a locations page for each one if they're in the same city, because if someone's looking for the Atlanta offices and they're all grouped in the city center in the same city, I think you just put all of the office locations on there with all their own Google Maps. You could have one for each city, but then you could have one for each location, but then they're going to compete on Google for the same keywords. That's a user experience thing. That's a good question. I haven't run into that. I'd probably lump them together, Suzanne, but my email will be on send me the example later, your URL, and I'll take a look. And if I don't know it, I'll run it by my SEO director. All right, guys. So we talked about all kinds of on-site content to rank you for those local searches and local SEO. But Google was founded, the algorithm that Google was founded on was really all about links. It's how Google determines whether to rank page A or website B. And to this day, 20 years later in Google's invention, still you can see on the right, the two arrows there, D, L, K, A, F, and P, L, I don't know the exact numbers, but 40% of the link juice estimates, 40% of your rankings will be due to the links that you get from other websites. Backlinking is not something a lot of provider groups, hospitals, dentists, there's not a lot of activity happening there. And if you're frustrated with your local rankings, you should start with your on-site content, your Google My Business, your reviews, your directories. But if you're still not ranking after that, you absolutely need to drive more links. Who wants to see the types of links you can go get? It's so weird doing webinars. You can't actually see anybody getting excited or raising their hand. So I'm going to imagine everyone is raising their damn hand right now. Let's check out some links. So there's 8 different ways that you can gain links, and all of these are attributed or possible for a provider group, guys. And a lot of you are doing it already. You're winning awards. You won the Top Docs Award. You're hosting events. If you're IVF, you're hosting probably virtual consultations with prospective mothers. You're doing community outreach. I bet you're sponsoring your local high school team. I bet you're sponsoring a lot of different things. I bet some of you are even co-authoring byline articles, but you're not making sure they link back to your website. You're doing all the work with none of the credit. That's not fun. Let me show you some examples of how to make sure you get credit. All right, guys. So local organizations that you're partnered with, Rotary chambers, local chapters, different schools, EDUs, if you have a sponsorship, if you have any kind of scholarship, anything you're currently doing, you got to make sure it links back to your website. There's lots of providers that are promoting themselves in their local area. If you have a bunch of providers, you want to do an audit and get a survey going out. What organizations are you affiliated with? Where do you write? What school did you go to? Alumni will often link, and they win like top providers in their school. What awards have you won, especially for a new provider onboarding group? If you're a hospital group, you should send out this spreadsheet and ask them everything they're associated with, and then hand it over to your SEO company or SEO resource and say, start combing through this. These are the associations, affiliations, and different events and things that our providers write for. Go check them out and see if they link back. If they don't, it's incumbent on you to get those backlinks. Cynthia is asking, great question. How many backlinks on average do I need to rank locally? That is really variable. You need as many as it takes to beat your next competitor. If you want to know how much your competitors above you have, go get Moz or SEMrush. There's free versions of those. Or heck, just email me. I'll shoot you an analysis. Go get free versions of those and then look at your competitor backlink quantity and quality and compare that to where you're at. You don't necessarily always need more links. You just need better ones. And if you harness the power of what your providers are already doing, could be enough. All you guys that are winning top docs or any kind of award, I highly would recommend making sure that whatever that award website is links back to your group. A lot of times providers have their own websites. Don't let them link back to the provider website. Make sure it links back to your website so you guys can funnel all of the leads that way. So we want to make sure everything's linking to you guys. Press releases, submit a press release when you win a big award. The press release links are not worth a ton. Not a ton, but sometimes they get picked up by other news groups, actual news groups, and they will get published and pushed back, and that can help. Once again, it's kind of like every little link helps generate. Community outreach. This is a great way to force link sponsorships. Cardinal sponsors a ton of different local organizations. A lot of it we do because we love our community in Atlanta. We love the healthcare community. I sponsor everything I can, but I also do it so that we can get backlinks to our website so that we can show up higher on Google. So community outreach, another great way to get great backlinks, guys. Once again, every kind of backlink strategy is custom to the provider group. So you want to do an audit of every association, alma mater, awards, everything the providers are doing. And then you need to turn that over and start soliciting those websites to actually link back to you guys. I write for all of these publications. I do it. Yes, it helps generate awareness for Cardinal, but I mostly do it for the backlinks that we get. It's great. Google's algorithm, the big algorithm update over the last 12 months was all around authority and expertise. Google will rank your website based on what it's seeing in terms of authority. How does it know how authoritative your websites are? It wants to see you contributing to really important publications on a frequent basis. That's one of the ways that it'll know. Forbes, Becker's, if you can write a monthly or quarterly blog, it doesn't need to be from the providers. The providers don't have time to do this, but you can get it drafted. The providers review it, throw in some medical stuff in there, and then you submit it. You need to create a constant flow. I'm a writer for Forbes. It's actually a paid thing. I do it so that Google sees that we're writing consistently in an authority on our topic of marketing and healthcare marketing specifically. Google wants to see you guys being an authority. Spam sites do not write for major publications. That's what will kind of eliminate those. That's why Google's placing so much emphasis on this. On your provider pages, each one of you guys have your own provider pages, which is great. Do you have videos and testimonials? You should. I talked about it in the COVID webinar update, but link out to their Health Grades profile, link out to their LinkedIn profile. Google wants to see not only inbound links, but they want to see outbound links to those provider profiles on different websites. That helps show Google you guys are not a spam site and you should rank above your competitors, right? Because spam sites will not link out to major websites. Woo, Coke break. All right, guys, we're having fun. We're about to wrap it up. Only got about 5 minutes of me babbling, and then we'll open up for a few more questions, and then you guys are out of here. Woo! What time do we start? 2? Yeah, we're not doing too bad. All right, guys. Voice optimization. What do I need to know? Just got recent data. 27% of everybody is using the Google Assistant and voice search on mobile. this was all the rage. Voice search is going to be the next big thing, and it's going to be everything. You have to be optimized for voice search. What does that mean for you? A lot of that we already answered, making sure we show up when someone's looking for an urgent care near you. Mobile-friendly website. Mobile-friendly website. Guys, you all need to be on WordPress. You all need to be on WordPress. I know some of you guys are on Drupal, Joomla. You just do the WordPress conversion, find someone on Upwork that can do it. It can be $1,500. You do it now, you're going to save a lot of pain. If you don't do the WordPress conversion, what you're going to have is a ton more developer costs because you have to get specific developers for whatever CMS you're on. And I won't name one of my competitors, but they have a custom CMS, and it makes it leaving them very difficult. And I absolutely hate that. You don't want to be on someone else's custom CMS. You don't want to be on anything but WordPress. Just take my word for it. It works really well with SEO. The pages load fast and they're mobile friendly. They're responsive. So you were wondering why the hell I keep doing this. They will change their size based on what device someone is in. All right, guys. So very important, mobile website friendly, page speed, super important. So we talked a little bit about this becoming part of the algorithm. It already kind of is in there. But it's becoming more prevalent. I run my page speed analysis like once a week. Why do I do that? Once I update my page speed on the website, like, shouldn't it already be quick in like 2 months? No, because as you add more pages and more images, it starts to bog down. I don't know if you guys remember the days when you had to defrag your computer when it was running slow. We don't really have to do that anymore because whoever the Microsoft is doing it in the background, or Apple for you guys that like the simple interface. But with page speed, you start to bog it down. You add CSS, you add images, you add all these things that slow it down. Hell, you add Salesforce CRM forms so that you guys can track back attribution. That slowed my site down by 25%. There are people that specifically work on page speed, and they mostly work on WordPress, to be honest, but they're kind of developers, kind of SEO whizzes, very specific people. I got one in my back pocket. His name's Scott. Great. If you need a connection, come to me directly, or work with an agency and work with your agency. Work on your page speed, work on your site speed. Don't just check your homepage. Don't just check your homepage. Check your pages that matter, your location pages. Oftentimes you're going to get different page speeds. Your website homepage may be really quick and your location pages are getting bogged down. And this is kind of counterintuitive to what I mentioned, but a lot of times what bogs it down is Google's own products. Your GMB integration on your location pages slows it down. Still really important. You got to go with it, but it can slow it down. Page speed, super important. I have some tips here. I don't want to go through these guys because this will just be emailed out to you guys, but image size is really important. It needs to be compressed. Get your developer to do it. Get rid of plugins you're not using. Are you using Yoast still? Get rid of anything you're not using, anything. Salesforce CRM forms, don't use them. Gravity forms. A lot of you guys should be working on your attribution these days. I want your forms to connect into CRM and EMR so that you can track back marketing performance. But it can slow it down if you don't do it right. I recommend Gravity forms with a Zapier tie-in to go into your CRM, okay? Self-hosted videos, don't do it. Don't do it. Go to YouTube. No, don't get rid of Yoast. Julian, great question. Don't get rid of Yoast. I do not use it because we do our own SEO, and I don't want Yoast auto-configuring things. Yoast is like a cheat for certain different things, so don't get rid of it. Talk with your SEO consultant. I was just naming different apps. If you're no longer using Yoast, get it off the site. But if you do want to still use it, that's great. Couple of questions, lots of questions coming in on PageSpeed. Well, we have another question. Mohammed, are local domain extensions better for local SEO? Yes, don't go with subdomains. You want your domain to be extended, providergroup.com/location. Don't ever go location.providergroup.com. Subdomains don't count towards SEO. Everything should be extensions. Subdomains are so 1996, bro. What's the best way to increase page speed? Shauna, these go through a lot of them. The quickest way is to get a developer that kind of knows this stuff, and they'll come through and see what your biggest problems are. Google page speed optimization. Google has their own tool, and it'll tell you. Search Console, you should all be in Search Console. It's Google's product for analyzing SEO performance. Also will have page speed analysis. I don't like it as much. So I just Google page speed and I use their optimizer tool there. 4.6 second figure. That's either way, mobile or desktop. And it's 4.6 seconds, actually kind of slow still. So you really want it well below that. Mobile, it should only be loading what you want. I still have my pages are AMP accelerated mobile pages so that they load super quickly. It helped my rankings a lot. Don't know that you really need to go that way. All right, guys, keeping going. Keep the questions coming. I'm having fun. It breaks things up. We're almost done anyways. Long tail keywords, guys. I like for you guys to have lots of content around your locations and blogs so that you can rank for just about everything. We talked about location pages, but oftentimes someone may not even be putting in orthopedic surgeon near me. What if they just type in, I think I tore my ACL? I actually did that 2 years ago. And that's the thing. First thing I did, I typed in tore an ACL. What does it feel like? Something crazy like that. And sure enough, orthopedic surgeon was serving an ad that said ACL repairs. Okay. I didn't specifically ask for a query. I didn't put in a query that was around surgeons or I need a surgeon. I was doing something symptom related. And still someone was serving ads. So whether you don't go the ads route, Google ads route or not, I want you guys to have tons of variability in your keywords. And a lot of this can come from blog articles. Please educate your patients. Blogs are still in. They're still great. They help you rank for longer tail, search-based, question-based queries. Dr. Google will serve them up, still serves them up big time. In those, I think a lot of where people go wrong is they expect the blog article to convert patients. It doesn't quite work like that. The blog article is very top of the funnel, right? Someone's just asking a question of Google, but you want them to land on your site, and maybe 15 days later, if you have remarketing ads going, they come back to your site when they're actually looking for an orthopedic surgeon. Okay, did I tear my ACL? Okay, I find out the blog. Then I get educated by this provider group, and I come back 15 days later. Really important to be running the marketing ads so that you show up through that 15-day consideration. But yes, for the most part, guys, want to make sure that you're constantly updating your blogs. Something else people don't think about is updating your on-site pages, your service pages, okay? Like your orthopedic surgeon, I don't want to think of, I want to give you guys a specific example. Every one of your location pages should be updated, but your on-site service, treatment, disease, condition-related pages, if you're having trouble ranking for a page, Google is placing a ton of emphasis on breadth of content. And if I'm not ranking and I've got 500 words on my page, I am paying a writer to get 2,000 words on the page, including my FAQ. Does that seem like a lot? Yeah, maybe. But I care about getting number one ranking. So I'm constantly updating Cardinal Zone pages and going from 700 words to 2,500 words, and my rankings shoot up every time. That's currently how the algorithm is working. It wants to see a ton of useful content. And so it's almost guaranteed if you guys put a lot more content on your important pages that you want to rank, you're going to rank better. Mohammed, how many keywords to use per page for SEO? As many as it takes to rank. Start with 500. If you still don't rank, add another 1,000. Still don't rank, add another 1,000. Still don't rank, get more backlinks. All right, guys, checklists are in here. In case you want to go back, checklists are in here. Everything we discussed, won't go through this because we just discussed it. Like I said, everything is going to be emailed out to you, including my personal email, Calendly link if you want to chat. Ton of this, man, we more than doubled our attendance on this one. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to help. There's nothing I'm more passionate about is connecting patients with great providers. So if I can help do that for you, yeah, that would make my day. All right, guys, here's my email. If you need it directly and don't want to wait for the emails that come out, am@cardinaldigitalmarketing.com. I'm going to take a few questions. Feel free to stick around and ask whatever the hell's on your mind. And we'll just keep going until they run out. Which makes a bigger impact, Lauren? Which makes a bigger impact, on-site or off-site SEO? What is the first I should do? On-site SEO being your content on your website. Off-site SEO being the backlinks. Google needs to first see what the hell you're all about. So your on-site SEO, your location pages, your service treatment, condition, all those kind of pages, provider pages, that matters more. Get all of the content figured out on your website before you start building links. Because if your practice has been around for a while and your domain's been around for a while, you're probably going to rank just by updating your content because you probably had a bunch of links coming in over the last 20 years or however long you've been in business. Start with your on-site content, then go to backlinks. Rebecca, thanks for all the great info. What do you think is the most important thing I should do to improve my rankings? It depends on where you're at. Sometimes you got a lot of great backlinks and your on-site just stinks. You don't have keywords in the right places, in the meta titles and URLs. Sometimes you got a brand new website and you have lots of great content but no backlinks. Rebecca, the first thing I'd recommend you do is get with an SEO consultant if you're not sure where to start, and they can and she can tell you where to start, or send me a note. I'll check out your URL and I can shoot you a quick note on where to start. If we're not a great fit, I'll send you some contractors you can work with. So just depends on where you can improve your rankings. You got to see where your competitors are doing too, but it's usually on-site or links. Julian, you said they won't work with Health Grades. You said they won't work with an agency. Can I get Health Grades profiles updated for multiple providers and practices, or do I need individual logins for each? You don't anymore. You don't need the individual logins for each. You actually can get like a provider group login, and then you can go into each provider profile and location profile, etc. I believe that's how they set it up. Ever since they gave us the Heisman, I have not been logging into Health Grades because they sent us a cease and desist when we tried to help our provider groups. So I wish I could give you more, but yes, they will work directly with provider groups. That's how they sell their ad space. Kirsty Society. For GMB, how do you edit the located in? There's not an option when editing listings. You can suggest an edit, but that hasn't proven successful to me. Interesting that hasn't been successful for you. That's generally when when I'm having trouble getting anything updated on GMB, sure, we go through our own profile login and suggest the edit. The thing that usually works best is when a random customer or patient suggests the edit outside of the GMB login that you're using that belongs to that profile. So you have enough colleagues make that suggestion, and then GMB will have to listen. Generally, Kirsty, that's what we have found to work is they don't listen to the client, but they listen to their users. Question, is it important to update content on the website regularly to keep ranking on top? Absolutely. Google wants to see fresh content. Think about it. When you guys are searching around on the web, what is Google showing? They're putting a date by most of the articles on websites, and then you judge the shit out of that date. If that date's 4 years old, I don't know if I want to get 4-year-old information on what the latest ACL surgery type is. I don't know about you. I don't. Do they still use cadavers? Are they using patella tendons, quad tendons? I don't know. I want frequent content. So often Google will go that route and post the most frequent content. Like I said, if you're not ranking for something, guys, feel free to add more content, update the content. If it's a blog article that you saw was generating a lot of traffic, update it and then change the date on that blog article, and it usually will shoot up in the rankings. So a little cheat tip there to get ranked higher on Google. Keep the questions coming in. In the meantime, I'm sending y'all some case studies, work with a lot of provider groups, hospitals, help them increase patient volume from SEO, search, social, urgent care, hospitals, IVF. That's a fun one. We got to integrate CRM, Salesforce in there. Theo's a great guy running a great operation there. That's very fun, working on some attribution there. You can check out stuff about Cardinal. Here's my email directly, also the website. Any other questions? I'm going to give it 2 more minutes. And then if nothing else, I'll stay on here for a couple more minutes. Let's see. Polls, where did we get at? 22% single location, 77 multi. I'm excited to get that single. I want to find out who's the single location and get them up. I see no other questions, everybody. I hope you enjoyed. We got Rebecca. How long does it take to start ranking after building a new location page? If you want to expedite Google discovering that page, you can go into Search Console and tell it to go index that page. The quickest way to get Google to index a page is to get a backlink to it. You can use a guest blog posting service to get a backlink within 3 weeks. If your website is pretty big and it's updated frequently, Google's putting you in their audit system and the spider system like almost every 4 or 5 days. They invested big time into doing that a lot about 5 years ago. So I generally say, Rebecca, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. If I'm not ranking well or nothing's changed in 2 weeks, something's not indexing correctly. So whenever I make an update to the site, my site, our sites, 2 weeks. Yeah, good question. Good question. Let's see what else we got here. All right, guys, very fun. You guys have fun? Everybody have a good time spazzing out with me today? All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. This will get sent out to all of y'all. Yes, we are in Atlanta, so we do say y'all. I hope you guys had a good time. Look forward to chatting with you guys all later. You'll have my email. If I can do anything to help, let me know. Stay safe, stay healthy. Talk to y'all in about 4 to 6 weeks for the next one. Bye.